Where are you from, Josie?
South Shields.
I thought.
Well, there were three of us in this marriage.
I just want to say, Liam, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
I enjoy cooking bacon and stuff, working with flour.
This is Your Welcome America, the podcast that explains what the bloody hell Brits are banging on about.
In every episode, we translate British pop culture for America
And American pop culture for Britain.
You're welcome. Hi, babes.
Hi, babes.
And I'm saying hi as I'm physically looking at you in the same room.
Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah. Our eyes are locking as we're above our Christina Aguilera I turn to you mics.
Very strange. Nice to be back together.
This is it. So, welcome to our Independence Day special.
Yep.
This is going to be more of a... I'm referring to this episode as a real loosey-goosey one.
It's like a loosey-goosey mini kind of episode.
Yeah, just a little check-in. Just, much like the Independence Day, holiday, you might take a breather. That's exactly what we're doing.
Exactly.
So there's not going to be much structure to this episode other than the fact we're here and hopefully you're listening. We wanted to touch on the fact that Independence Day is, well, at the best of times is a bit weird and is in particular this year. We're certainly, well, speaking for myself, I certainly don't feel super comfortable celebrating it.
Yeah, so like even say last year, it was always it's a strange holiday to celebrate as someone who's not American.
Yes.
Just one.
Agreed.
You feel a little bit kind of like you're stepping on toes just by celebrating it. Then obviously when you start to deconstruct what it means and what it kind of represents, it's very problematic. And then in light of everything that's going on, it's kind of just like, oof, does this feel like the right time to be kind of flying the flag and being proud? But, I think you have to kind of...
The answer is no to that question.
Yeah. I think we just have to... I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm not necessarily going all in on the holiday and what it represents or anything like that, but I am just still happy to be here, even though things are a little bit strange.
Agreed. And I think, as I said in the introduction, we're taking this holiday to quite literally take a break. And that is what we're doing. And we're out here in Palm Springs.
Yes.
With podcast husband Jesse.
Yep.
He's currently in the pool. He's floating around. He's reading his Valley of the Doll books. He finished...
Wow, he looks great.
He finished his Andre Leon Talley book.
Yep.
He's onto that. He's done some magazines. Podcast dog Fabio is just... He's on a rug that in our Airbnb that he's already peed and pooped on. Oh, and he just yawned, and that's pretty much it. Temperature-wise, I was just in the car. I went to buy some frozen pizzas, and it was 107 degrees, down from the high of what we were at 111 degrees earlier.
44 Celsius for UK listeners is where we were at.
Little temperature translation there.
So the three of us are away together for this long weekend, and it's been very nice to see people. And I basically... Even though I haven't been living with you, I have seen you and we've kind of spent time together, even if it's just you driving me somewhere. So I kind of have been in a quarantine with you and your husband.
we definitely feel like we're a quarantine throuple.
Yes, that's 100% what it is. I have not seen anyone else like I've seen you. So it's been very strange.
Yeah.
But it's been really nice to get away. So yesterday we had a little kind of, the three of us, the throuple, we had a little kind of fiesta, kind of some drinks, and we sat by the pool and we drank the house completely dry of everything that we'd bought at the supermarket.
I have not drunk that much in maybe 18 months, I would say. We drank every kind of drink.
Yeah, I did wine, tequila, gin, vodka.
We had some champagne at one point.
Oh, and champagne, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I knew things went wrong because obviously you're sitting looking at me right now and there's actually, I sustained an injury.
Frazer did a very ambitious jump/dive into the pool and he has bashed his nose.
Yes, it's not as bad as it sounds. I didn't jump into the pool. I was already in the pool, so you don't remember this clearly. I was in the pool and I thought what I would do was just dive to the bottom and then
Right.
just glide up majestically kind of in the darkness. But what I did is I
Got it.
dove kind of directly down into the bottom of the pool and just used my face as the guide. And I've got like a nice little red mark. And I think my nose is a little swollen. But I have a big nose anyway, so, whatever.
And also, as you said, you majestically, you thought you were doing this in a majestic fashion. The fact that you bashed your nose suggests it probably wasn't majestic.
Well, I kind of came out of the water like screaming that I'd smashed my face into the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
So.
So we did that yesterday. Fraser had his injury. What else did we do other than having all the drinks? Oh, we danced around for a bit. I'm trying to think of some great, in my blurry memory, some great music that we had on. We did La Isla Bonita, which obviously naturally goes to the UK translation of Machico Latino by Jerry Halliwell. They have to be played back to back in my book. I did a Shakira performance for you all.
Me and Jesse were in the pool, and you did like a poolside performance.
I did.
Like we were at kind of one of those MTV Spring Break kind of things. You were performing while we were in the pool, just like dancing. And then I tried to do some kind of Vogue dancing, right? Because I've been watching too many episodes of Legendary.
You did. Remember, you tried that indoors, and you slightly hurt yourself as you went straight down onto the concrete floor. Yeah.
Let's just say you should not be shablamming onto a concrete floor when you actually, A, you just don't know how to do it, and B, directly onto hard concrete.
We also had that breather where we watched an episode of Ab Fab.
Yes.
which Absolutely Fabulous the comedy show will be a special at some point. We'll do a whole episode on it.
It has to be.
Yeah. So we did that. And then my last thing I remember is the fact that we only had tequila left, and just thinking it'd be a good idea should we all just have one more drink? And it was like a whole new spirit being introduced at midnight.
It was tequila, LaCroix, and then topped up with just sparkling water. So it was just tequila and water, basically.
Yeah, that was it. We heard from our neighbours across the wall, which was some other gays, also just grilling away. Some fireworks went off, although not as bad as the fireworks have been in my neighbourhood.
Yeah.
And particularly last night, I've heard from my neighbour that the fireworks were so intense in my neighborhood that today in LA, the visibility is so bad because of all the smoke.
I know. I've just got this horrible feeling that when I get back to Koreatown, it's just not going to exist anymore.
It's rubble.
It'll just be like a burnt out crater.
I will say, so today we've had a bit of a chill out day, just in the house and in the pool, done very little. Feeling a little queasy right now, and this may be because I've eaten a lot of double stuff Oreos. We had twist of lime chips,
Crisps.
Crisps, and then I've also had another coffee, and I'm like, why do I feel a bit queasy? And then when you say all those things out loud, that answers my question.
Well, when you were in the supermarket, I ate another one of those muffins that we bought from the coffee shop as well.
Oh, we did have those muffins. We did have those muffins this morning.
Yeah, we've been indulging, which I feel like is the kind of the spirit of the holiday. Ooh, yikes.
I mean, look, the fact that essentially in America you're meant to just eat barbecued meats, that's the national holiday. I mean, not unlike Burns night.
True.
We just wouldn't barbecue things because it's too cold.
Well, actually, bonfire night, you do eat hot dogs.
Really?
I've had we like burgers and hot dogs, maybe
out of a van.
Out of a van. I'm just thinking you probably went to some zhuzhy fireworks display that had a caviar bar and the raw seafood bar at your Guy Fawkes night.
I'm trying to remember. There was always like
a jacket potato.
Would love a jacket potato. That's really warming and really, really easy to eat on the go, isn't it? Just in your hand as you're watching a firework. No, I think we just had like candy floss.
Right.
That was it. Right. Before we talk any further, shall we do some feedback?
Yes. Okay, well, I found some feedback from Instagram that actually is from a while back that I had missed. I wanted to address it. This is from Queelan on Instagram, and they asked us, they said, guys, I adore the podcast. Cross-continental legends doing God's work. I have a question, Ari, your collective music taste. Would Miss Kate Bush be in the boring Beatles / Doctor Who / basic British national treasure tier for you, or are you a fan? I'm obsessed with her, but allergic to Doctor Who and other shit like that. Just wondering, what is your stance?
I think I know what your stance is.
I like the songs of Kate Bush that I know. I don't seek her out and listen to her, like, know her back catalogue inside and out, but what I do know of her, I really like.
Yeah, I mean, I only know Running Up That Hill, and it's got some great...
And Wuthering Heights.
Oh, Wuthering Heights. Yeah, I don't ever need to hear Wuthering Heights again. That's pretty annoying. And people think it's people think that song is like a unique part of their personality to like it and sing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Not into that. Running Up That Hill, I like because there's some weird noises in the background.
Yeah, it's very you. That's got some beeps and boops that I know you like.
Love a beep and a boop.
But I would say just on the whole, even though I don't particularly like her music that much, I still don't class her in that same category as like the Beatles and other boring basic shit. I just know it's not for me, but I think she's elevated and she's in the good side of things.
Agreed. I seem to remember actually the closing ceremony of the Olympics in 2012 in London, which again will be a whole episode one day because we reference the opening and closing ceremonies a lot. We start just endlessly talking about it. I do remember there was a Kate Bush performance. She wasn't performing, but like the song was played and there was just lots of like moving box props going around and like just digital mapping going on. It was very ill-advised. It was very like school show with a vague budget.
Oh, yikes.
You know?
Which is, ironically is what I feel about the fact they've now put Hamilton on Disney Plus, which I still stand by the fact that it's like a touring production that would go around like middle schools and teach children about history. But anyway...
Right, what other feedback we got?
So Disco Drive-Thru, a regular correspondent with us, says, not sure if it was just an Essex thing, but I'd cringe at people calling Primark Primarché.
Primarché.
That's not an Essex thing. I've heard Primarché before, and he's actually given us the spelling Primarche, and the E's got an accent over it.
Oh, the wee accent. I think that's like the acute accent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying.
He's also asked, in the last episode, we mentioned that we're going to be covering Canada's Drag Race. We're going to be doing a recap podcast for it. And he just said, like, where can you find it and all that stuff. So,
Did he really ask that?
Yeah.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, he actually did that. Did I sound like I was lying?
It sounded like you were like, oh, someone's asked us about something that we want to reference and talk about and plug conveniently.
You fucking phony, you've made it up. No, he genuinely asked. So that is actually available now. If you just search for Drag Race Recap on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from, it's Afterthought Media, and you'll see our names in the description of the episode. So we just cover the Canadian Drag Race recaps.
We obviously cannot. That makes sense. We cover Canada.
Yeah,
we cover Canada because we're not American. So therefore, we can cover Canada.
But you should have a listen to the first episode because we had UK Drag Race Queen Crystal on the show, and she explained some stuff to us about Canada and really helped us out at the end.
Really helped us out.
So if you want to hear from her as well, it's worth tuning into.
It was useful having an actual Canadian on. So yeah, every week we will be doing an episode recapping that week's episode of Drag Race Canada. So check it out.
Yeah. And one final bit of feedback from Jash01. He's got kind of just a couple of questions for us, and he says, welcome, not welcome, ice, and by extension, iced tea. And I don't mean the horrifying sweet tea from the South.
And he doesn't mean ICE who round up immigrants in the US, which is 100% not welcome. So wait, ice, like ice in drinks? I'm very confused.
Yeah, I think... It just says ice in general, and then by extension, iced tea.
Okay.
So...
Okay, well, actually, we talked about this yesterday.
We did.
Weird.
Well, we've been having a real fun chat, haven't we? We talked about ice yesterday. We really did.
We had that long chat about ice. So actually, ice, to his point, is a very American thing. Because as I was explaining to podcast husband Jesse, it's cold in the UK, so ice isn't a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Because I was talking about when I used to work at a pub and how instead of, if someone ordered like a gin and tonic, instead of putting like the glass into the bin of ice and filling it right up, I feel like I would get pluck out like 2 or 3 cubes, and then that would be like, you couldn't put more than that in, otherwise people would be like, what are you doing?
3 cubes max. God, I always feel like when I worked in a pub in the UK, there just was never enough ice, so you really had to ration it. Maybe like 1-2 cubes max, I would say. So ice is, I would say, it's very welcome, very into it. We love an iced coffee. You're drinking yours right now. Love an iced coffee, but again, iced coffee makes sense in California and somewhere in America where it's hot, because you just don't want that piping hot coffee all the time, you know?
And you're not a gay in LA unless you're drinking an iced coffee.
Yeah, although, I know, 100%. So that's welcome.
Iced tea, what's your opinion on iced tea?
I I don't like an iced tea. It's just too sweet. And I also, there's a dark side of iced tea because a lot of Americans drink it like water and it's actually full of sugar and diabetes.
Dark side.
There is dark side to iced tea.
I'm a fan of, I would never drink it more than just for a treat. I like an iced tea lemonade. Where they do the combo that, in any old coffee shop and you just get, it's half iced tea, half lemonade.
Isn't that an Arnold Palmer? Wait a minute, I'm going to Google it.
I think it is. Yeah, you're right. It is an Arnold Palmer.
So that's like a drink because was he a golfer? Arnold Palmer?
I feel like we've talked about Arnold Palmer before.
Yeah, iced tea and lemonade. So yeah, quite often out here you could go somewhere like, I'll just have an Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
Just cool you off.
It is refreshing.
It is refreshing.
I'll give him that. But
okay,
yeah,
we'll give him that. But not just like
I
a whole
wouldn't-
iced tea by
no.
itself. I do like an iced green tea though. Do love that, but I don't like any sweetness in that tea. Yeah. So really, our answer for this is welcome or not welcome. Turns out our conversation on ice is a bit more nuanced than giving a welcome or not welcome answer.
this is probably our best episode so far, right?
This is what we should submit to the podcast Emmys.
I feel like just to give us an excuse, just to explain it away a little bit. I don't know about you, but I do feel like I have baked my brain in the sun today. I feel very woozy.
I feel
That and my head injury.
I feel strangely high, and I don't know why at the moment. Okay, I am gonna nip onto the Discord. So we have this whole app thing called Discord that I know a lot of our friends from Afterthought Media very kindly message us on. So people were asking, I think you mentioned this last time, but Humble Pie was asking about piñatas, and I did say that. Yeah, I think you'd said they're not really a thing in the UK.
Yeah.
However, in about 2010, I had a penis piñata that was filled with all kinds of goodies. In fact, Crystal was part of this, and it involved little jam jars that they'd cleaned out and put vodka in.
Wow.
So which was good and bad, because when you hit it, I remember some of them smashed.
Yeah.
And the vodka just went everywhere. But I do love something very British about cleaning out a mini jam jar and putting vodka in it and then putting it in a penis piñata.
So did the vodka ever so slightly taste of jam? Because you can never quite get rid of that taste.
And jam and also glass. So yeah, also someone on the Discord, and I don't know if someone just wrote Hack the Planet. Did we mention Hack the Planet is a reference to hackers?
Oh,
Did we mention hackers?
Yes. Do you know what it was? Do you remember we were trying to come up with the top 3 90s kind of 90s internet thriller,
Internet-based thrillers.
Internet-based thrillers.
And we clearly did that. And
it was the Net and the Matrix.
And we could. Wait, Nat, the Net, and the Matrix. Okay, great. So that was Nomi. He was asking. Oh, he said you can complete the trilogy with Tank Girl.
Oh yeah, Tank Girl.
I do like Tank Girl.
Although vague elements of steampunk going on in Tank Girl.
Uh-oh.
And you know how we both feel about steampunk.
Not welcome.
Not welcome.
Nomi also said the other name for Target is the Red Spot Boutique.
Oh God, that's awful.
Pommy Kiwi was asking about pop stars and Ghetto. He said, was Ghetto where they held Wig Out on Saturdays behind GAY at the Astoria? Can remember when it was Substation Soho, because I'm very old. Yeah, we don't remember Substation Soho. Wig Out, wasn't that at GAY? Wig Out.
I feel like you've just said so many words and my brain is not able to piece any of the memories back
Fair
together.
enough.
The fact that that club was even called Ghetto is actually really problematic, isn't
Very
it?
problematic. I mean, it would not be happening now. And, I mean, to be fair, it was bulldozed about 8 years ago now, so...
They literally bulldozed it to the ground.
Bulldozed it. Yeah, and I think that was pretty much all the feedback that we had. But as ever, keep it coming. Harass us, get in touch on the old Instagram.
Yep.
Drop us an email. If you're on the Discord, give us a shout. We'll probably answer it.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, because this is the Independence Day special, what other July 4ths have you spent out here in the States? What other things have you done in the past?
Well, last year was I went to your house. That was just was that we launched the podcast just afterwards, didn't we?
No clue.
I've completely lost all sense of time about it. So yeah, last 4th of July, that was my first one living here, and I spent that at your house. You had that kind of backyard party.
Yep.
Got kind of high. The only other 4th of July I've spent here was, do you remember when we came over here for a holiday vacation before, and me and Charlie and Millie, we left on the 4th of July?
That's
do you remember?
Right. And we're all like, it's actually a really good time to fly because you'll be able to see the fireworks.
It was such a mistake. We were like, the whole day we had the looming, because I remember our flight was in the evening, so the whole day we had flying out of the country looming over our head. But that's when we were staying in Venice, on Venice Beach, so everyone was just, it was just like this big party, and everyone was having the time of their life, and we were like, oh, we've got to drive to the airport soon, and we had to drive through Venice, and people were like waving, American flags, and everyone was just like, woohoo! And then I was, as you know, I hate flying, so I was really paranoid that our plane was going to get hit by a firework and that we were going to crash.
So last year we were together in my house. There were a lot of fireworks, I remember, because my neighborhood is very fireworky, as I think I've mentioned in the past. They've really been going to town with it of late. We did that. We've done Venice a couple of times. Nice being out by the beach. I've been at a pool. Do you know what? A lot of them just don't really register. Oh, no, wait a minute. There was one where I was working, and we ended up going to Cinespia, which is the big, we've talked about it before, the big outdoor movie screenings in the cemetery. Again, when you say all those words together, it reminds me how crazy that sounds, just watching movies in a cemetery. But I went to see Jurassic Park. But I do remember I was in the middle of working on a show at the time. And so we all had the day off because, like, legally, you pretty much have to have the day off or whatever. So I was working from home, but I was like, oh, it's actually quite good because I'll get lots of work done today because no one will bother me. So I remember sending lots of emails to people and then realizing that maybe it's disrespectful to them and they're probably really angry because I'm sending them work emails. Yeah. But you know what? Screw them. I was just trying to get my job done.
And, all in all, is that not the spirit of America?
What? Screw them.
No, I meant being entrepreneurial and working hard and,
just trying to make a buck.
Yeah. That's the American dream.
It's the American dream right there. One thing we didn't mention at the top of the episode is one thing that's particularly weird about this year is having Independence Day, as ever, a couple of weeks after Juneteenth on June 19th, and realizing that Juneteenth isn't a holiday. Yeah. And then Independence Day is, that also just really doesn't feel great.
Yeah, it's really, this year it's really highlighted how this day needs to evolve and along with a lot of people's attitudes.
Yeah, I think in future years we should definitely only fly on this day. We should only have the gay American flags, the ones that are like all the pride colors, but it's an American flag.
So I think we talked about this before, but we were talking about this obviously on the way up here as well, but in terms of a 4th of July playlist, there are obviously some very pro-America songs, but not really the kind of songs that you and I would listen to.
I.e. country.
I like country music, but I don't want to hear a man singing about America,
Not with a guitar.
I'm not interested.
No.
But obviously Party in the USA, Miley, is an important one. Firework by Katy Perry gets kind of,
I mean, we're not fans of it, but we respect it.
Shout out to CLC, the time that I caught her captioning some fireworks on her phone, ready to go on an Instagram story with the caption, "Baby, you're a firework." And I caught her in the pub writing it, and I said, "I know what you're doing." And she was like, "Don't look at my phone."
I would have preferred it if CLC had just written "Baby, you're a," and just not written firework, just like a real tease.
Let the fireworks speak for themselves.
Exactly.
She's gonna be so annoyed. I bring that up all the time. She's like, "Oh, leave me alone."
Podcast husband Jesse also brought up the fact that Khalees had that song 4th of July from the album from 2010 that had a cappella and everything on it.
Listening to a cappella on the way up to Palm Springs, that catapulted. Speaking of our days in London and bulldozing buildings behind the Astoria, Jesus Christ, listening to a cappella made me. It honestly made my heart race. It was like back in the days where I was a heavy smoker and drank cans of Strongbow cider. Oh, mama.
Just that opening,
yeah.
Really, it made me kind of imagine being in the queue for the bar or just having got drinks but wanting to get to the dance floor and being like, no, just down these and we'll go dance, or shit, no, you get the drinks, I'll go dance. Yeah, shout out to Acapella, what a song.
Well, I'd be interested to hear from any American listeners that we have, that if there is you know how obviously there's, especially here in this country, there's a lot of Christmas traditions. Say like in the holiday time, families are like, oh, we grew up and we'll always watch a Charlie Brown Christmas. You know, that's very American. Or like how we've talked before about how Muppets Christmas Carol is like a part of the viewing at Christmas. And then when it comes to Independence Day, apart from the movie Independence Day, I don't know if there's like really there's not that tradition, which is why this evening, to celebrate the 4th of July weekend, you, me, and Jesse are going to watch Catwoman.
We are,
Halle Berry.
starring Halle Berry. It's one of those movies, like, every time I'm flipping through the movies on Netflix or Amazon or whatever, I'm like, I've never seen that, and I do need to see that.
It's one of those movies that I don't know if I've seen or not.
Really?
Like, yes, as in, I can place some scenes in my head, and I know that Sharon Stone is in it, and I feel like I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you anything that happens in it.
I feel like there's a really important song on the soundtrack. Now, let me just look. Catwoman, I'm looking. Well, I will say that the names of these songs are pretty fascinating. There's one called Cat Lore. There's one called Cosmetics. By the way, I wanted to go back, though, and just say there is something that we have not mentioned that is like a thing on Independence Day. Normally it's like parades.
Yeah.
So if you're like in a local, like, smaller town, they'll have like a parade.
Right.
I feel like some might be terrifying and involve guns and crap and planes. However, we saw those planes, didn't we?
Oh, that memory's just come back to me.
You completely
There's
drank
like a
through that
flyby,
one.
wasn't there, last night? Yeah.
Because we're staying at our Airbnb is right beside the Palm Springs airport, and there's like an old air museum out here, and there's all these old planes, and they just flew over yesterday.
Have you ever seen I Know What You Did Last Summer, the movie? Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Have.
So that whole movie, I've just remembered, that's a 4th of July movie. That whole movie takes place over 4th of July weekend because Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, do you remember, she gets murdered, she's running away from the killer. It's a really long chase scene, and she finally gets to the point where there is inexplicably a nighttime parade happening for 4th of July.
Yes!
And she's walking down the alleyway, and then the killer kills her, and they do the overhead shot of like the marching band going by while she's getting killed in that like stack of old tires.
I heard this year that a lot of parades and things have quite rightly been cancelled this year, but one place was doing what they were calling, I think it was like a reverse parade. It's pretty clever. So what they do is all like the floats and everything are stationary, and you drive through in your car and just look at everything.
That's a good idea.
That's pretty cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, I can confirm that on the Catwoman 2004 original soundtrack is a song called Scandalous by Mystique.
So scandalous.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Once again,
Good
bring
for them.
Yeah, good for them. Do you think they were like, this is it, ladies?
Yeah,
this
we've made
soundtrack
it.
is really going to propel us.
This movie is going to be a huge hit. Oh dear.
Oh, sorry, Sue Elise. Well, she's got her dance school, so she's fine. The Sue Elise School of Step, or whatever it's called.
Speaking of movie soundtracks, we also had this weekend have had a very in-depth discussion of our favourite songs from the Sex and the City movie soundtrack, the first soundtrack. We're discussing Labels of Love by Fergie,
Yeah.
and All Dressed in Love by Jennifer Hudson.
Well, love is the key, you know. Oh yeah, I seem to remember I was doing a really good that final scene in the first Sex and the City movie where they're all at that brunch and that song's playing. I can do like really good impression of like people being busy at that table, like, oh, pass the salt, Miranda. Oh, I'll have that. Yummy. Try this, Brady, or whatever it is. Right. What are we gonna do tonight? Well, we're watching Catwoman.
We're going to eat some pizza and watch Catwoman.
I mean, that's it, America. I think that's what you do.
Well, I mean, this has been truly a aimless ramble through our thoughts and feelings, but we just wanted to share, we just wanted to kind of mark the occasion, acknowledge where we are, what's happening, acknowledge how strange it is and how weird these times are, and not kind of celebrate it, but also just have a little moment where we can have everyone maybe think about how we can improve ourselves in the world.
Yeah, and just try and support Catwoman the movie.
Yeah, well, that's really okay. Fine, let's just come clean. Okay, fine. They got Catwoman the movie got in touch with us and they said, we feel like this podcast with their tens of listeners this is going to be the way to get the movie back into the #1 spot. So we're actually doing some guerrilla marketing for Catwoman.
I like the idea that the marketing team from 2004's Catwoman are still like working.
Yeah, the dusty old office.
Yeah, they're like, 16 years later, they're like, right, what next, guys?
I know, what we'll do is let's go to some of the lowest tier podcasts that we can find. We'll pay these guys. They'll do a rambling episode for about 30 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes they'll mention the movie Catwoman, and everyone will go crazy for it.
Great, and that will spark the connection of Catwoman and Independence Day. and then from then on, we'll be laughing, much like Charlie Brown the movie and Citizen Kane. No, wait, Citizen Kane? Wait, what's the one? No, hang on. Oh, God.
It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life. Look, Citizen Kane and It's a Wonderful Life in my head are both the same movie.
Boring. Well, I do believe on this podcast we also said that we both individually thought Michael Caine was in Citizen Kane.
He plays the role of the citizen.
Oh my God, my head's spinning.
Right, we need to end this. Thank you for listening as ever.
Yes.
As we said, do like, rate, review us, whatever you want to do. Get in touch, give us a shout. We'll be back soon with a regular episode. We do appreciate you listening as ever and hope you're all doing okay out there.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone at Catwoman the Movie for sponsoring this episode and really just keeping us afloat. Meow.
Meow. Okay, Fraser, should we go watch Catwoman now?
Well, I mean, I think we should watch it maybe 100 times, maybe pay for it on a streaming service.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So scandalous.
You know you wanna sing with us. That's why you know you should be scared of us.